I saw this in the New York Post.
Sure.
And you were quoted as talking about this whole angle of Americans are prudes.
Oh.
I don't know if you said that, but that's what.
Yeah.
And the New York Post likes to
that's
trend. I
something.
don't tend to believe anything
Yeah.
with them, right?
Americans are prudes. Yeah, no, I never actually said Americans are prudes, although I think that's what they went with. All my friends called, I didn't even know it was in the New York Post, but my friends called me and they were like, girl, you're on page 6. And I was like, what? How am I on page 6? What have I done? And then I looked and I was like, oh Lord, I should not have said that in an interview. But I'm actually what I said, and I stand by it because it just is true. We premiered the movie in Berlin, and in Europe, nobody asked me.
Right.
And when I was in New York, everybody asked me. And it was more of an observation than something that I had drawn conclusions about.
Right.
I think, and I don't think it says anything one way or the other, but I do think, in general, I think nudity is an issue here and everywhere, but I think that it's largely because female nudity is seen as either highly sexualized, where they're an object of desire, and that you desire that because they're beautiful and perfect, and you want to have sex with it, or it's degrading. Somebody's crazy and they're naked, or they're beaten and they're naked, or they're getting killed and they're naked. But there's very little just like, you're naked because you're taking a shower, or you're naked because that's just what's happening right now. And I think that there's something unsettling about that people don't quite know what to do with. And I think that maybe some of the curiosity comes not just from the fact that there's nudity, but because it's not being displayed. That Florence she's not a perfectly toned, Pilates lady. She's just a girl who's, in a situation. And I think that part of why there's curiosity is because it's so just kind of life.
It's funny because, I guess I'm asking about it too, but it's just really strange because I think we here in America, I'm originally from here, but we here in America, some of us behave as if we've just discovered sex for the first time.
I know.
People just go ape crap about it.
I know. It's so, I guess I've never gotten the big hoopla, or everyone keeps talking about, the other thing is the awkward sex scene. Everyone's like, it's so awkward. And I'm like, yes, it is awkward. I was like, but I don't really, maybe you all are having beautiful, acrobatic, perfectly choreographed sex, but I think most people are just kind of figuring it out. They don't know. It doesn't look like, ballet or something. But I think that just speaks to the fact that it's not realistically portrayed ever, or very rarely. And and also, to be honest, it's also just a hilarious scene. I think that's hilarious. And when I read it, I laughed because I was like, wait, what? Oh my God! Because you can see how Greenberg thinks that this might be the best idea, but it's just the worst idea. And it's just, I think it's real, but it's also very funny. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We are a very puritanical society for sure.
Well,
have our kind of contradictions.
Hey, I'm American. I'm sure I'm just as fascinated. I don't know.
Right.
I was shocked by forgetting Sarah Marshall. No, I don't know. No, it just doesn't bother me that much.
Well, that's good. Guess. That's good.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the other things you had to do with this character.
Sure.
After you went through the character, because you filmed for about a month or two on this?
2 months.
2 months. So what did you do? Because the character has all these things going on, as I've said. But what did you do when the character was finished with? Was there a certain routine that you had to go through to detoxify?
Yeah. It was really hard, actually. I would say letting go of a character is the hardest thing at the end of it, because it feels like it feels like a breakup, or you're losing someone, or they're dying, they're not going to come back. Then they're going to go live in the editing room, and then they're going to belong to other people, and it's no longer just yours. I mean, I wish I had a method of detoxing from a character. I would probably be better for it. What I did do was cry a lot, and quit smoking.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Oh, well, thank you. Because I smoked for Florence. Even though she doesn't smoke a ton in the movie, she smokes a little, and Noah said, oh, just keep smoking. So quitting cigarettes was a bit of letting go of Florence.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's really wonderful.
Yeah, well, cold turkey.
Yeah.
Just
Wow.
go for it.
Great. That's excellent.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel good about it.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Now, you are now located in New York. Is that correct?
That's right.
And obviously, it's a completely different jump from Sacramento, in a sense, I guess. Is it
Oh
not?
my God, yeah. I mean, I went to college in New York, so
Okay.
I went there, and I
was Bonn.
Yeah, Bonnet. Yep. It's the women's college at Columbia,
Mm-hmm.
and I loved it. I just loved it. I felt like I loved growing up in Sacramento, but I always felt like I belonged in New York, and then I got there, and I was like, I do belong here. I just I love walking. I love public transportation. I love the Met. I love the parks. I love everything about it. I still don't think I'll ever quite lose the wide-eyedness of what New York is. But I loved being in LA when we made the film, and I think I was given a really amazing introduction to LA that a lot of people don't get. And I think Los Angeles is a much more interesting, much stranger city than people know, because I think that there's sort of there's an idea of Los Angeles of, I guess it's an idea of the beach or Sunset Boulevard and just a couple of iconic things, but the truth of that city is it's so big, and there's so much little secret pockets of life that you'd never know about, and you kind of have to have a tour guide. It's like being in, I don't know, like a forest. You really have to. But I think in New York, what's great about it is more easily seen. It's more external. I mean, it's not Times Square, but you walking the streets, you can feel the feeling of why it's great. And in Los Angeles, you need to get plugged in to certain things. And I really love LA. I really do. I think it's a strange city. So weird. But in the best way.